This month on the World Sailing Show, the 52 Super Series launches into Season 10. Teenagers shine at the Kite Youth Worlds, and carbon fibre recycling in sport. But we begin today in the Netherlands, where round 2 of the Hempel World Cup Series was hosted in the brand new venue of Almere near Amsterdam, where the Allianz Olympic Classes Regatta was the highlight of Dutch Water Week.
So it's a new location for the World Cup. We also had the Dutch Nationals last week here, also for the first time on this location, but we tried to make a bigger event, so we include all types of water sports to get a bigger crowd out there and get people familiar with sailing sport and water sports.
We want a festival. We want people to get to know the sport, to get to know all the forms of water sport, all the different ways you can go onto the water. And I think it's a big showroom for water sports in the Netherlands. Bring it all together just in 1 week.
The Netherlands was plainly aiming bigger than just hosting a World Cup round, but home results afloat were certainly helping to make the week the festival with a Dutch flavour. With 9 of the 10 Olympic classes racing, the Dutch cleaned up in the 49er classes, with Bart Lambria and Floris van der Werken winning the men's competition, while in the women's 49er FX, Odile van Aanholt and Annette Duets went back-to-back, having already won round 1 in Mallorca just a month earlier.
We'd love to keep on winning. Yeah. I mean, that's the goal, but there's other really good sailors too, so we'll just keep training the best we can and then see what happens.
Sailors like Odile and Annette are fast becoming the new standard bearers of Dutch sailing, which bodes well for the orange takeover of sailing events over the next 12 months.
Yeah, we have a lot of events coming up. In about a month from now we have the Youth Worlds in The Hague. And next year we will have the big Worlds with all Olympic classes. So we will have around 1,400 sailors in The Hague, which is a great event to look forward to. And the World Cup, of course, will be back next year here in Almere.
Back to the 2022 regatta, and the Dutch success continued, with Leila Vandermeer and Björn Bauer striking gold in the NACRA 17 class. After finishing 7th in Mallorca, this was a welcome display on home waters for the Dutch pair.
Yeah, it was pretty extreme conditions. It was very short, steep job. So yeah, a mistake is in such a small thing. So yeah, we kept it upright. So.
The Dutch organisers weren't only looking to favour their own with home advantage, but had worked hard to encourage an international fleet, including a big Asian contingent. They succeeded, with sailors from countries including Singapore, Malaysia, India and Japan. And Japan finished with 2 pairs in the top 5 in both the 470 class and in the women's IQ foil windsurfing, showing that their positive Olympic legacy continues.
The medal race was really good for us because downwind are faster than another team.
But the week was all about the Dutch Masters, and it was Annalou Lammerts who provided the finishing touches in the women's Formula Kite class.
Yeah, I'm pumped. It was so tight and like all the time in the back, you know, they're like 10 meters behind me. We were going like 50 kilometers an hour or faster, and yeah, no room for mistakes.
Amidst the excitement of Dutch Water Week, there was also the announcement that the new Olympic classes for Paris 2024 will be unchanged for Los Angeles 4 years later. So the kiteboarders are in for the long haul, and for the Dutch windsurfers, the IQ foil will also remain their weapon of choice. So a Dutch 1-2-3 podium lockout in the men's event in Almere was a very welcome sight. A perfect result to round out the regatta, with Hau Gyan Tak on the top step.
And that only means we're going to go for more successes in the future and more easy wins, because we all are in our team so strong that we're going to have an easy time in the big fleet.
Having provided global leadership in creating lighter, faster, stronger boats, now World Sailing and the World Sailing Trust have joined forces with the IOC and other key federations to create the Carbon Fibre Circular Alliance, a groundbreaking sustainability initiative to show how carbon fibre can be reused and repurposed.
Carbon fibre usage within sport is massive. When you compare it to other industries, it's actually the 3rd largest user currently, and it's projected to be the 2nd largest user fairly soon.
it's used mainly for its strength and its lightness. So when any of those properties are taken away, so if there's any slight deviation in its construction, then literally it's thrown away. And 95% of carbon fibre ends up in landfill. The project is to look at the circularity of carbon fibre in the sports industry. So taking a broken component, realigning those fibres and producing a line tape that can be used back into that same component.
So imagine a bike frame or a tennis racket. When it breaks, you actually return it and get a discount on your new racket, which is made with reclaimed carbon fibre. Recycling really is a two-step process. We first chop the carbon fibre component in small bits. We then send that to a reclaimer where we get dry carbon fibres back, but it is a very fluffy material. And our process is a bit as a high-tech paper making process. We mix the carbon fibres in water and then we put that in our machine where we spray the carbon fibre mixture between parallel plates, and that aligns them in those gaps, ultimately creating a continuous tape of aligned short fibres.
So if we can use something that has a much lower carbon footprint with the same properties in terms of performance, then I think consumers are going to start to purchase those products as a priority.
How to celebrate a 10th anniversary? If you're the world's leading Grand Prix monohull circuit, it has to be the Abanca 52 Super Series Bayona Sailing Week. The first of 5 regattas, making up season 10 of the successful pinnacle in the sport.
Really looking forward to competitive racing again. We've got 9 boats here on the start line. Looking forward to getting into the racing and then trying to get back up then to the top of the leaderboard.
Man of the moment, Rolex World Sailor of the Year, Tom Slingsby, got the Super Series off to a flying start. Fresh from winning the Sail GP opener in Bermuda, the Aussie guided Team Phoenix to victory in the first of 9 races scheduled for the 5-day competition. Tony Norris steered Platoon, one of 3 boats in the fleet fitted with new upgraded keel fins, and showed their class to win race 2. 4-time series winner Quantum Racing last won the overall back in 2018 and had ended day 1 with 2 mid-fleet finishes. That all changed on day 2 as they notched up a first and second place to move within 4 points of Team Phoenix. Lighter wins were the order of day 3. After a series of 7th and 8th place finishes, Tony Langley's British-flagged Gladiator took victory in race number 5. But once again, it was Quantum who ran out winners in race 6, the second victory in Bayona giving them the overall lead as Phoenix dropped to 3rd. Quantum took another step closer to their first 52 Super Series regatta win since 2019 as they won the only race of day 4. Phoenix and Platoon finished behind them in 2nd and 3rd place respectively. That left the Americans heading into the final day with a 4-point lead over their closest rival. Up until now, the fleet have been racing in northerly winds, but day 5 ushered in a southwesterly breeze.
It's looking pretty good for racing. I think we might be a little bit delayed, but then the sea breeze is going to kick in, probably sort of ranging from 9 to 13 knots of breeze. But we should be able to get 2 races in, which will be nice.
Race 8 started with Quantum, Platoon and Allegra making the early running. Allegra led round the top mark, but Quantum made a couple of nice jibes to move up from 6th to 3rd, going into the leeward gate, and eventually came home 2nd behind the British boat. That left them with an almost unassailable lead going into the final race, but they jumped the gun at the start and had to turn back and recross the line. In last place at the first mark, they appeared to have snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. But at the bottom mark, the breeze disappeared and the race was abandoned. That left Quantum celebrating on the water as they claimed the regatta win in Bayona.
As you know, winning's a process, and today we held our nerve in that first race. The guys got a great start. Team sailed the boat really well, got a little unlucky on the middle of the first beat, and kept asking the question, so it was great to get around them and get back up to the 2nd spot.
Made a few too many mistakes on one of the days and lost a lot of points and dropped back to 3rd place, but we showed that we're in the hunt.
Coming up in part 2, the Pro Sailing Tour kicks off in Corsica and the launch of the glittering Star Sailors League. Welcome back. Still to come, drama on the Straits of Bonifacio and America's Cup news from Alinghi. An exciting new format and 64 sailors on a single mission. 5 months after hosting the senior event, Torre Grande Sardinia was back in the headlines as host of the Formula Kite Youth Foil World Championships.
It's important that the youngsters they learn about racing. It's the sailing rules, it's technique, it's the whole way that racing is working.
The opening day of competition saw Singapore's defending champion Max Meider win all 4 heats in his half of the men's draw. But at this level, the margins between winning and losing can be small.
A 0.3% difference over a regular 12-minute race is, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, is 75 to 100 meters, depending on your average speed and wind. So, you know, the attention to detail goes up, the professionalism goes higher, and margins just get way smaller.
In the women's fleet, Israel's Gal Zuckerman recovered from a crash in race 1 to lead the standings after Poland's defending champion Julia Domasowicz found herself picking the unfavoured side of the course while leading race 3. Day 2 saw varying winds of between 8 and 16 knots. Not that it made much difference to Meider, who claimed another clean sweep to make it 8 wins out of 8. Italy's Riccardo Pianossi was almost as dominant in the other half of the men's draw, winning 3 of his 4 races. In the women's, a big crash took out Gal Zuckerman in race 2, and that allowed Maya Ashkenazi to move into the championship lead, a point ahead of defending champion Julia Domasowicz.
I think that it's a quick progress that we make. The younger are you, the quickest progress you make. I'm almost 18 now, and I have already got one first place in the European Championships in a senior. So yeah, I think it's about the progress that we make pretty quickly.
Day 3 brought a strong but unpredictable breeze, giving the foilers plenty to think about when it came to choosing size of kite and increasing the risk of high-speed wipeouts. Even the weather didn't faze Meider though, as he ended qualifying with a perfect score of 13 points from 13 races after discards. In the women's competition, France's Eloise Péjury won 2 of the day's 4 races to book herself an automatic place in the final alongside Maya Ashkenazi. New for 2022 was a scoring system for the semi-finals and final, which would see the 2 best performers from qualifying handed a distinct advantage.
So, the first 2 people, namely, first place has 2 points, second place has 1, and 3 and 4 in each of the fleets have no points. The way you earn a point is you win that race that they run. The first person in the fleet to get 3 and win it.
The final day of competition brought light winds that threatened to make consistent foiling tough, opening a chance for some major upsets on the water. Italy's Sofia Tomasoni proved the point by winning 3 out of the 4 races in her semi-final. In the other semi, Poland's Nina Arsic secured the points needed to edge out defending champion Julia Domasowicz. She continued that great form in the final, winning 3 out of the first 4 races to claim the world title.
So the wind was today very weak, but somehow I win the World Championships, and yeah, I'm so excited and happy about my result.
The boys' final was more of a formality for Max Meider. With his 2-point advantage from qualifying, a 3rd place finish in race 1, followed by a win in the 2nd, was enough to retain his title.
2 Asians at the podium. Oh my God, I cannot believe this. I cannot. I mean, look at this. Like Asia is coming, and it's with full force.
The Pro Sailing Tour kicked off its 2nd season on the southern coast of Corsica, hosted by the port of Bonifacio. 7 Ocean 50-class trimarans, each crewed by 3 sailors, would battle it out over 5 rounds between May and July. The Straits of Bonifacio were the perfect setting for episode 1, which began with 7 inshore races held over 2 days. The series was bolstered by the entry of offshore specialist Eric Perron for 2022 aboard Comilfo, but it was reigning champion Sam Goodchild, the sole British skipper amongst an experienced fleet of French sailors, who'd be the one to beat. Goodchild and his crew aboard Leighton got their title defence off to a flyer with victory in the first race, while Primonial, skippered by Sebastian Rogue, took maximum points in race 2. The youngest skipper in the Pro Sailing Tour was 28-year-old Quentin Vlaminck on Arkema, and he came to the front in race 3 before the final action of the day got underway, with the crews all working hard in close quarters. But amidst the frantic racing, disaster struck. Gilles Lemire's Group GCA had speared into Seb Rogue's Primonial, putting them both out of the regatta.
On a commis une grosse erreur, on n'a pas vu un bateau qui était sous notre vent, en l'occurrence.
We made a big mistake. We didn't see the boat to leeward of us, in this case Primonial. And in trying to get away from Casio, which was to windward of us, we got into Primonial's float quite violently. We got stuck right in it.
Assez violemment dans le flotteur de Primonial, alors on s'est encastré dedans. D'abord.
Above all, I feel really sorry for Seb. I'm really sorry for what happened.
Désolé de ce qui est arrivé.
Just 5 boats competed on day 2, but the racing continued as fiercely as the day before. Thibaut Vauchel-Camus and his crew aboard Solidaire en Peloton, ASEP, pulled out all the stops to take their first win of the episode, and Erwan Laroux's Quessio got in on the act with a victory as well. But with 2 second places and a win in the closing race of the inshore competition, it was Quentin Vlaminck who led the fleet on points, with the 24-hour race still to come.
Attention pour le départ. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top! Et c'est un bon départ, bon départ.
The planned offshore race would have taken the teams around the island of Corsica, but light winds meant the shortened 164-mile course took them west to the capital, Ajaccio, and back through the Straits of Bonifacio. The fleet stayed close together for much of the race, and by the end there were just 9 minutes between the front 3. Quessio finished in 3rd place, with Leighton just ahead in 2nd. But winning the 24-hour race by 8 minutes, and the regatta overall, was Arkema. A fantastic effort by Alex Peller, Antoine Gauthier and skipper Quentin Vlaminck. Stories from around the world now, and it's been a good few weeks for Arnaud Sarafagis. First, he skippered Alinghi Red Bull Racing to victory in the Riva Cup, comfortably winning the first event of this year's GC32 Racing Tour with 2 races to spare. Then the Swiss-flagged America's Cup team announced he will lead their key sailing squad, tasked with winning the most sought-after trophy in sailing. A mere 8 months in the making, Flying Nika has made its inaugural flight off the coast of Spain. Designed by Irishman Mark Mills, built at the King Marine shipyard in Valencia and skippered by owner Roberto Lacorte, the 60-foot longboat is the first full-foiling sailing yacht in the mini maxi class. Designed for racing in shorter offshore and coastal competitions, it features cantilevered T-foils and looks very much like the inshore speed machines of the America's Cup. It will sail with a crew of around 6. This year's Rolex Duralia got underway with the traditional San Remo-San Tropez event, followed by 3 days of coastal racing. Adriano Calvini's Itagentadu took honours in the San Remo race, while Maxi Jethu, owned by Peter Ogden, dominated in the IRC 0 class of the inshore event. The full story of the Rolex Duralia Classic coming next month. Finally, the Olympic Museum in Lausanne hosted a who's who of sailing to mark the official inauguration of the Star Sailors League. As well as celebrating the launch of the Gold Cup, the venue played host to grinding and hoisting competitions and an on-land sailing experience, courtesy of an Optimist and a laser fitted with high-tech simulators. So what exactly is this new World Cup of Sailing? Simply put, it's a chance for 56 nations to battle it out for the right to be called Star Sailors League Gold Cup champion. The top 24 teams have been given an automatic place at the finals later this year, while the other 32 convened at Switzerland's Lake Neuchâtel for a qualifying series that produced some dramatic action.
No. This is what we like.
Split into 8 groups of 4, each group battled over 6 races to decide the top 2 teams to qualify for finals to be held in Bahrain in November.
I think we will all come out firing. Yeah, I don't know, we're super keen to race.
For us and for what I think the SSL Gold Cup represents, it's the start of a long adventures.
The first of the 5 qualifying series saw 8 boats split across 2 fleets. Fleet 1 going right to the wire after Tahiti won the final day's opening race to leave everything to play for in the group decider. Having missed the start of the previous race, Bermuda executed a bold move off the start to leave their rivals treading water. In the chaos that ensued, Antigua made the best of their bad start to sail home behind Bermuda in 2nd place and finish top of the group. Tahiti's 3rd place ensured they collected enough points to secure the runners-up spot and with it, qualification for Bahrain.
Great way to wrap up on a double points day. I'm super proud of the team and what they've achieved to this point.
The last day's competition in the 2nd fleet saw a light breeze that would ultimately force the cancellation of the final race. Estonia and Ireland had dominated the group, but in race 4 it was Serbia who got the better start. Out on the water, there were some intense tacking duels, with Estonia finally moving into the lead. Behind them, the jury was very busy handing out numerous penalties. The leaders kept out of trouble to claim their 3rd victory on the water, and with it, qualification for Bahrain. Behind them, Ireland finished 3rd to claim the runners-up spot and their place in the finals.
We hadn't sailed the boat together as one team, so it was really important to put a good team together, to know you arrived with a full 100% squad of Irish heroes in my book.
Hong Kong didn't even make it to the start for the 2nd round of the qualifying series, leaving Slovenia, Lithuania and Ecuador to fight it out for the top 2 places in their group. Having won 2 of the first 3 races, Slovenia found themselves tacking behind early leaders Lithuania at the start of race 4. But it was Ecuador who gradually moved to the front. After leading for half the race, they made a fatal error that saw their spinnaker turn into a floating anchor. It was a mistake that would cost them dearly, leaving Slovenia to cross the line first to make it 3 wins out of 4. Another victory and 2nd place in the final 2 races left them comfortable group winners, with Lithuania pipping Ecuador by a point to join them for the trip to Bahrain. Next month, Foiling Week hits Lake Garda, and it's the turn of youth in The Hague.
August 1st, 1966. Charles Whitman goes on a shooting rampage at the University of Texas Clock Tower in Austin. With a high-powered rifle, he kills 14 people and wounds nearly 36 others hours after murdering his wife and mother. The killing ends when police gunned down Whitman 90 minutes after the siege at the clock tower began. 1914. Europe's major powers take another fateful step into World War I as Germany declares war on Russia. 1936.
Der 11. Olympiade neuer Zeitrechnung als eröffnet.
Nazi Germany's dictator Adolf Hitler opens the Berlin Olympics. Hitler hopes to use the Games as a showcase for his ideology of racial superiority, but American athlete Jesse Owens shatters that dream by winning 4 gold medals. 1944. An uprising breaks out in Warsaw against Nazi Germany's occupation of Poland during World War II. The 2-month revolt takes place a year after a failed uprising by Warsaw's Jews to resist being sent to a Nazi death camp. 1819. Herman Melville, author of Moby Dick, The Tale of the Great White Whale, is born in New York City. And 1981.
Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll.
MTV, the channel that put music videos on the pop culture map, debuts on cable.
Are those guys the best?
Today in history, August 1st,
So
Mike
excited about
Gracia,
this
The
new
Associated
concept in
Press.
TV. We'll be doing for TV.
Welcome back in our studio, and in today's news,